Artistic gymnastics is a discipline of gymnastics in which athletes perform short routines on different apparatus with less time for vaulting. The sport is governed by the Fédération Internationale de Gymnastique, which designs the code of points and regulates all aspects of international elite competition. Within individual countries, gymnastics is regulated by national federations, such as British Gymnastics in the United Kingdom and USA Gymnastics in the United States. Artistic gymnastics is a popular spectator sport at the Summer Olympic Games and in other competitive environments. History. The gymnastic system was mentioned in works by ancient authors, such as Homer, Aristotle, and Plato. It included many disciplines that would later become separate sports, such as swimming, racing, wrestling, boxing, and riding, and was also used for military training. In its present form, gymnastics evolved in Bohemia and what is now Germany at the beginning of the 19th century, and the term artistic gymnastics was introduced at the same time to distinguish freestyles from the ones used by the military. The German educator Friedrich Ludwig Jahn, who was known as the father of gymnastics, invented several apparatus, including the horizontal bar and parallel bars, which he used to this day. Two of the first gymnastics clubs were Turnvereins and Sokals. In 1881, the FIG was founded, and it remains the governing body of international gymnastics. It initially included only 3 countries and was called the European Gymnastics Federation until 1921, when the first non-European countries joined the federation and it was reorganized into its present form. Gymnastics was included in the program of the 1896 Summer Olympics, but women have been allowed to participate in the Olympics only since 1928. The World Championships, held since 1903, were open only to men until 1934. Since that time, 2 branches of artistic gymnastics have developed: women's artistic gymnastics and men's artistic gymnastics. Unlike men's and women's branches of many other sports, OAG and MAG differ significantly in apparatus used at major competitions and in techniques. Women's artistic gymnastics. Women's gymnastics entered the Olympics as a team event in 1928 and was included in the 12th Gymnastics World Championships in 1950. Individual. Women were recognized in the all-around as early as the 10th World Championships in 1934. 2 years after the full women's program was introduced, at the 1950 World Championships, it was added to the 1952 Summer Olympics in Helsinki, Finland, and the format has remained to this day. The earliest champions in women's gymnastics tended to be in the 20s, and most had studied ballet for years before entering the sport. Larissa Latynina, the first great Soviet gymnast, won her first Olympic all-around medal at the age of 22 and her second at 26. She became the 1958 world champion while pregnant with her daughter, Vera Kaslavska of Czechoslovakia, who followed Latynina to become a 2-time Olympic all-around champion. Was 22 before she started winning gold medals. In the 1970s, the average age of Olympic gymnasts began to decrease. While it was not unheard of for teenagers to compete in the 1960s, Lyudmila Tereskova was 16 at her first Olympics in 1968. Younger female gymnasts slowly became the norm as the sport's difficulty increased. Smaller, lighter girls generally excelled in the more challenging acrobatic elements required by the redesigned code of points. The 58th Congress of the FIG, held in July 1980, just before the Olympics, decided to raise the minimum age for senior international competition from 14 to 15. The change, which came into effect 2 years later, did not eliminate the problem. By the time of the 1992 Summer Olympics, elite competitors consisted almost exclusively of pixies, underweight, pre-pubertal teenagers, and concerns were raised about athletes' welfare. The FIG responded to this trend by raising the minimum age for international elite competition to 16 in 1997. This, combined with changes in the code of points and evolving popular opinion in the sport, led to the return of older gymnasts. While the average elite female gymnast is still in her middle to late teens and of below average height and weight, it is also common to see gymnasts competing well into their 20s. At the 2004 Olympics, both the second-place American team and the third-place Russians were captained by women in the mid-20s. Several other teams, including Australia, France, and Canada, included older gymnasts. At the 2008 Olympics, the silver medalist on vault, Oksana Chusovitina, was a 33-year-old mother. She received another silver medal on vault at the 2011 World Championships in Tokyo, when she was 36. At the age of 41, Chusovitina competed at her 7th consecutive Olympics at the 2016 Olympics, a world record for gymnastics. Apparatus. Both male and female gymnasts are judged on all events for execution, degree of difficulty, and overall presentation skills. Vault. The vault is an event as well as the primary piece of equipment used in that event. Unlike most of the gymnastic events employing apparatuses, the vault is common to both men's and women's competition, with little difference between the two categories. A gymnast sprints down a runway, which is a maximum of 25 meters in length, before leaping onto a springboard. Harnessing the explosive energy of the spring, the gymnast directs his or her body hands first towards the vault. Body position is maintained while popping the vaulting platform. The gymnast then rotates his or her body so as to land in a standing position on the far side of the vault. In advanced gymnastics, multiple twists and somersaults may be added before landing. Successful vaults depend on the speed of the run, the length of the hurdle, the power the gymnast generates from the legs and shoulder girdle, kinesthetic awareness in the air, and the speed of rotation in the case of more difficult and complex vaults. In 2001, the traditional vaulting horse was replaced with a new apparatus, sometimes known as a tongue table. It is more stable, wider, and longer than the older vaulting horse, approximately 1 meter in length and width, giving gymnasts a larger blocking surface, and is therefore safer than the old vaulting horse. With the addition of this new and safer apparatus, gymnasts are attempting more difficult and dangerous vaults. Floor exercise. The floor event occurs on a carpeted 12 meters x 12 meters square, called a spring floor, consisting of hard foam over a layer of plywood, which is supported by springs or foam blocks. This provides a firm surface that will respond with force when compressed, allowing gymnasts to achieve extra height and a softer landing than would be possible on a regular floor. A series of tumbling passes are performed to demonstrate flexibility, strength, balance, and power. The gymnast must also show non-acrobatic skills, including circles, scales, and press handstands. Men's floor routines usually have multiple passes that will total from 60 to 70 seconds, and men perform without music. Rules require that gymnasts touch each corner of the floor at least once during the routine. Female gymnasts perform a 90-second-long choreographed routine to instrumental music on the same spring floor used by male gymnasts. Female routines consist of tumbling passes, a series of jumps, several dance elements, acrobatic skill elements, and turns. Elite gymnasts may perform up to 4 tumbling passes, each of which includes 3 or more skills. Men's only pommel horse. A typical pommel horse exercise involves both single leg and double leg work. Single leg skills are generally found in the form of scissors, an element often done on the pommels. Double leg work, however, is the main staple of this event. The gymnast swings both legs in a circular motion and performs such skills on all parts of the apparatus. To make the exercise more challenging, gymnasts will often include variations on a typical circling skill by turning or by straddling the legs. Routines end when the gymnast performs a dismount, either by swinging his body over the horse, or landing after a handstand. Still rings. The still rings are suspended on wire cable from a point 5.8 meters off the floor and adjusted in height so the gymnast has room to hang freely and swing. He must perform a routine demonstrating balance, strength, power, and dynamic motion while preventing the rings themselves from swinging. At least one static strength move is required, but some gymnasts may include 2 or 3. Most routines begin with a difficult mount and conclude with a difficult dismount. Parallel bars. Men perform on 2 bars slightly further than a shoulder's width apart and usually 1.75 meters high while executing a series of swings, balances, and releases that require great strength and coordination. High bar. A 2.4 centimeters thick steel bar raised 2.5 meters above the landing area is all the gymnast has to hold onto as he performs giants, release skills, twists, and changes of direction. By using the momentum from giants, enough height can be achieved for spectacular dismounts, such as a triple back salto. Leather grips are usually used to help maintain a grip on the bar. Women's only uneven bars. On the uneven bars, the gymnast navigates 2 horizontal bars set at different preset heights yet alterable widths. Gymnasts perform swinging, circling, transitional, and release moves, as well as moves that pass through the handstand. The most common way to mount these bars is by jumping towards the lower bar first. Higher-level gymnasts usually wear leather grips to ensure a grip is maintained on the bars while protecting hands from painful blisters and tears. Gymnasts sometimes wet their grips with water from a spray bottle and then may apply chalk to the grips to prevent the hands from slipping. Chalk may also be applied to the hands and bar if grips are not worn. Balance beam. The gymnast performs a choreographed routine from 70 to 90 seconds in length consisting of leaps, acrobatic skills, turns and dance elements on a padded spring beam. Apparatus norms set by the International Gymnastics Federation specify the beam must be 125 centimeters high, 500 centimeters long, and 10 centimeters wide. The event requires spectacular balance, flexibility, and strength. Equipment and uniforms: chalk, grips, mats, uniform, braces, apparatus, leotards, springboard. Format of competition. Currently, in Olympic or World Championships competition, the meet is divided into several sessions which occur on different days: qualification, team finals, all-around finals, and event finals. During the qualification round, gymnasts compete with the national squad on all 4 or 6 apparatus. The scores from this session are not used to award medals, but are used to determine which teams advance to the team finals and which individual gymnasts advance to the all-around and event finals. The current format of this session is 5-4-3, meaning that there are 5 gymnasts on the team. 4 compete on each event, and 3 of the scores count. Individual gymnasts also compete to be qualified to the all-around and event finals. In the team finals, gymnasts compete with the national squad on all 4/6 apparatus. The scores from the session are used to determine the medalists of the team competition. The current format is 5-3-3, meaning that there are 5 gymnasts on the team. 3 compete on each event, and all 3 scores count. In the all-around finals, the gymnasts are individual competitors and perform on all 4/6 apparatus. The scores from all 4/6 events are added together, and the gymnasts with the 3 highest totals are awarded all-around medals. Only 2 gymnasts from each country may advance to the all-around finals. In the event finals or apparatus finals, the top 8 gymnasts on each event compete for medals. Only 2 gymnasts from each country may advance to each event final. Other competitions are not bound by these rules, and may use other formats. For instance, the 2007 Pan American Games had only 1 day of team competition on a 6-5-4 format, and allowed 3 athletes from each country to advance to the all-around. In other meets, such as those on the World Cup circuit, the team event is not contested at all. New Life competitions use the New Life scoring rule, which was introduced in 1989. Under New Life, marks from one session do not carry over to the next. In other words, a gymnast's performance in team finals does not affect his or her scores in the all-around finals or event finals. He or she starts with a clean slate. In addition, the marks from the team qualifying round do not count toward the team finals. Before the introduction of the New Life rule, the scores from the team competition carried over into the all-around and event finals, and could have a negative or positive effect on the gymnast's efforts in subsequent sessions. The gymnast's final results and medal placement were previously determined by the combination of the following scores. Qualifiers for all-around and event finals, team compulsories plus team optionals. Team competition, team compulsories plus team optionals. All-around competition, team results averaged plus all-around. Event finals, team results averaged plus event final. Compulsories. Before 1997, the team competition was structured differently. It still consisted of 2 sessions. However, gymnasts performed compulsory exercises in the preliminaries and their optional routines on the second day. The team medals were awarded on the combined scores of both days. All-around and event final qualifiers were also determined according to the combined scores. In meets where team titles were not contested, such as the American Cup, there were 2 days of all-around competition, 1 for compulsories and 1 for optionals. The optionals were the gymnasts' personal routines, developed with the coaches to adhere to the requirements of the Code of Points. They were performed in the team finals, the all-around and the event finals. The compulsories were routines that were developed and choreographed by the FIG Technical Committee. They were performed on the first day of the team competition. Every single elite gymnast in every single FIG member nation performed the same exercises. The dance and tumbling skills of compulsory routines were generally less difficult than those of the optionals, but heavily emphasized perfect technique, form and execution. Scoring was exacting, with judges taking deductions for even slight deviations from the required choreography. For this reason, many gymnasts and coaches considered compulsories more challenging to perform than optionals. Compulsories were eliminated at the end of 1996. The move was extremely controversial, and many successful gymnastics federations, including Russia, the United States and China, voted against the abolition of compulsories. They argued that the exercises helped maintain a high standard of form, technique and execution among gymnasts. Opponents believed that compulsories harmed emerging gymnastics programs. Many members of the gymnastics community still argue that compulsories should be reinstated. Many gymnastics federations have maintained compulsories in the national programs. Gymnasts competing at the lower levels of the sport, for instance, level 4 to 6 in USA Gymnastics, grade 2 in South Africa and national levels 3 to 6 in Australia, frequently only perform compulsory routines. Competition levels. Artistic gymnasts compete only with other gymnasts in the level A grade. Gymnasts start at the lowest level of competition and advance to higher levels or grades by learning gymnastics skills and achieving qualifying scores at meets. In America, levels range from 1 to 10, then junior elite and senior elite. Elite, especially senior elite, is considered Olympic level, and these gymnasts generally perform routines designed to meet the FIG's international code of points. Levels 1 to 3 are usually considered recreational or beginner, 4 to 7 intermediate, and 8 elite advanced. Competitions begin at level 4 and in some gyms, level 3. A gymnast must have specific skills for each event in order to advance to the next level, and once a gymnast has competed in a sectional meet, they may not drop back to a lower level in the same competitive season. Levels 1 to 3 are basic skills, such as handstands, cartwheels, etc. 4 to 6 are compulsory levels, and 7 is an in-between level, with strict requirements but still allowing the gymnast to add in their own creativity. In the UK, the level system goes from 5 to 2. There are also 2 tracks for elite and club level competition. In Canada there are several different competitive streams: recreational, developmental, pre-competitive, provincial, national and high performance. Provincial levels range from 5 to 1. National levels are pre-novice, novice, open, and high performance. High performance levels are novice, junior and senior. Age limits. The FIG imposes a minimum age limit on gymnasts competing in international meets. The term senior, in gymnastics, refers to any world-class or elite gymnast who is age-eligible under FIG rules. The term junior refers to any gymnast who competes at a world-class or elite level, but is too young to be classified as a senior. Currently, female gymnasts must be at least 16 years of age, or turning 16 within the calendar year, the male 18, to be classified as a senior. Juniors are judged under the same code of points as the seniors, but with further restrictions, and often exhibit the same level of difficulty in the routines. Many meets, such as the European Championships, have separate divisions for juniors, but some competitions, such as the Goodwill Games, the Pan Am Games, the Pacific Rim Championships and the All-Africa Games, have rules that permit seniors and juniors to compete together. Only senior gymnasts are allowed to compete in the Olympics, World Championships and World Cup circuit. For the current Olympic cycle, in order to compete in the 2016 Olympics, a female gymnast must have a birth date before January 1, 2001. The counterpart gender must be minimum 18 years old. There is no maximum age restriction. The minimum age requirement is arguably one of the most contentious rules in artistic gymnastics and is frequently debated by coaches, gymnasts and other members of the gymnastics community. Those in favor of the age limits argue that they promote the participation of older athletes in the sport, and that they spare younger gymnasts from the stress of competition and training at a high level. level. Opponents of the rule point out that junior gymnasts are scored under the same code of points as the seniors, except for some restrictions, and train mostly the same skills. They also feel that younger gymnasts need the experience of participating in major meets in order to become better athletes, and that if a junior has the skills and maturity to be competitive with seniors, he or she should be allowed that opportunity. Another point that frequently arises in this debate is the issue of age falsification. Since stricter age limit rules were first adopted in the early 1980s, there have been several well-documented, and many more suspected, cases of juniors with falsified documents competing as seniors. The FIG has only taken disciplinary action in 3 cases. Those of Kim Gwang-suk of North Korea, who competed at the 1989 World Artistic Gymnastics Championships at the approximate age of 11, North Korean Hong Soo-jong, who competed under 3 different birth dates in the 2000s, and China's Dong Fangshao, who competed at the 2000 Olympics when she was 2 years below the age minimum. While the minimum age requirement applies to both women and men, it is far more contentious in the women's program. Most top male gymnasts are in the late teens or early 20s, while female gymnasts are typically ready to compete at the international level by the mid-teens. The difference is largely due to the fact that the men's skills tend to emphasize strength more than the women's skills. Scoring and the code of points. Scoring at the international level is regulated by the Code of Points. This system was significantly overhauled for 2006. Under the new Code of Points, there are 2 different panels judging each routine, evaluating different aspects of the performance. The D score covers difficulty value, element group requirements, and connection value. The E score covers execution, composition, and artistry. The most visible change to the code was the abandonment of the perfect 10 for an open-ended scoring system for difficulty. The E score is still limited to a maximum of 10. The sum of the 2 provides a gymnast's total score for the routine. Theoretically, this means scores could be infinite, although average marks for routines in major competitions in 2016 generally stayed in the mid-teens. Many gymnasts, including Nadia Comaneci, Mary Lou Retton, Joseph Stalder, and Kurt Thomas, have attributed their original skills to the Table of Elements section of the code that helps define a routine's difficulty. Before 2006, every routine was assigned a start value. A routine with maximum SV performed perfectly was worth a 10.0. A routine with all required elements was automatically given a base SV. It was up to the gymnast to increase the SV to 10.0 by performing difficult skills and combinations. Many gymnastics insiders, coaches, officials and gymnasts have protested the new code, with Olympic gold medalists Lilia Podkopayeva, Svetlana Bergwinskaya, Shannon Miller and Vitaly Sherbo, and Romanian team coach Nicolae Formante publicly voicing their opposition. In addition, the 2006 report from the Figure Athletes Commission cited major concerns about scoring, judging and other points of the new code. Aspects of the code were revised in 2007. However, there are no plans to abandon the new scoring system and return to the 10.0 format. Major competitions. Global Olympic Games. Artistic gymnastics is one of the most popular events at the Summer Olympics, held every 4 years. Gymnastics teams qualify for the Olympics based on the performance at the World Championships the year before the Games. Nations that do not qualify to send a full team may qualify to send 1 or 2 individual gymnasts. World Championships. The gymnastics-only World Championships is open to teams from every FIG member nation. The competition has had several different formats, depending on the year. Full team finals, all-around, and event finals, all-around and event finals only, or event finals only. Artistic Gymnastics World Cup. Goodwill Games. Artistic Gymnastics was an event at this now-defunct competition. Regional All-Africa Games. Gymnastics is one of the events in this multi-sport competition, held every 4 years, and open to teams and gymnasts from African nations. Asian Games. Artistic Gymnastics is one of the events in this multi-sport competition, held every 4 years, and open to teams and gymnasts from Asian nations. Commonwealth Games. Artistic Gymnastics is one of the events in this multi-sport competition, held every 4 years, and open to teams and gymnasts from Commonwealth nations. European Championships. The gymnastics-only European Championships is held every year, and is open to teams and gymnasts from European nations. Pacific Rim Championships. This gymnastics-only competition, which was known as the Pacific Alliance Championships until 2008, is held every 2 years and is open to teams from members of the Pacific Alliance of National Gymnastics Federations, including the USA, China, Australia, Canada, Mexico, New Zealand and other nations on the Pacific Coast. Pan American Games. Gymnastics is one of the events in this multi-sport competition, held every 4 years, and open to teams and gymnasts from North, South and Central America. South American Games. Artistic Gymnastics is one of the events in this multi-sport competition, held every 4 years, and open to teams and gymnasts from South American nations. National. Most countries hold a major competition every year that determines the best performing all-around gymnasts and event specialists in the country. Gymnasts may also qualify to the country's national team or be selected for international meets based on the scores at nationals.